So as in the last section, we discussed about the terminology of ensemble learning. In this session, we will discuss about the techniques of ensemble learning. One of the technique is the technique named as bagging. Bagging is also known as bootstrap aggregating. And the main purpose of using bagging is to improve accuracy. It has stated some targets, or you can call them goals also. One of them is improving the accuracy of your machine learning models and enabling them to for deeper insights, looking into deeper insights of something in decision making and in predictions also. So when we talk about bagging, so it is also known as bootstrap aggregation, and is an ensemble learning method that is commonly used to reduce the variance within a noise dataset. In bagging, a random sample of data in a training set is selected with replacement, meaning that the individual data points can be chosen more than once. After several data samples are generated, these big models are then trained independently and depending on the type of the task. Regression or classification can be used in this. For example, the average of majority of the predictions yield a more accurate estimate. As a note, the random forest algorithm is considered as an extension of the bagging method, using both bagging and the feature randomness to create the uncorrelated forest season of trees. And it basically deals with things like a diversity of classifiers in bagging. It is obtained by using the bootstrap replicas of different training sets. It is that is different training subsets are randomly drawn within the replacement from the entire training set. Each of the training subset is used to train a different classifier of the same type. Individual classifiers are then combined by taking a simple majority vote of their decisions. For any given instance, the class chosen by most number of classifiers is ensemble decision. Since the training dataset may overlap substantially, additional measures can be used to increase the diversity, such as using a subset of training data for training each classifier or using relatively big classifiers. Next is how bagging works. Now let's understand how bagging works. So here we discussed how bagging works. So when we talk about bagging, how bagging works, then here we need to understand first about bootstrapping. And when we talk about bootstrapping, bagging leverages a bootstrapping sampling technique to create diverse samples. The first technique, that is bootstrapping, the main target of bootstrapping is creating diverse datasets. Creating diverse dataset samples. This resampling method generates different subsets of the training dataset by selecting data points at random and with replacement. This means that each time you can select a data point from the training dataset, you are able to select the same instance multiple times also. As a result value instance, it is repeated twice or even more than a sample. Then at the second step, certain training is done, and that training goes on known as parallel training, as multiple samples are being trained in parallel. So these bootstrap samples are then trained independently and in parallel with each other using weak or the base learners. Once this is done, the next thing that is to be done is aggregation. Now how it is working, this is like selecting random samples and then process. These samples are processed, and like this is model 1, it is processing, second processing, and third processing. Once this is done, they all are aggregated at one place, and that is aggregation. So depending on the task, it may be regression or classification, and average of majority of the predictions are taken to compute a more accurate estimate. In the case of regression, an average is taken of all the outputs predicted by individual classifiers, that is known as soft voting. For classification problem, the class with the highest majority of votes is accepted, that is known as hard voting or majority voting. As we can see over here, so here we are having one common training sample, and from this training sample, multiple subsamples are chosen. And these small samples are also known as bootstrap samples. From this, it has got named as bootstrapping also. And all these samples are fed into different classifiers. Each classifier may be implementing different algorithm for performing classification. After doing classification at multiple levels, at the final, we get one aggregator result. Here, what is performed over here is this is the aggregation over here, where test data is there and sample classifier is there for example, and for final predictions are being made in this case. And let's discuss a few benefits of bagging and challenging of bagging. There are a number of key advantages and challenges that the bagging method presents when used for classification or regression problems. The key benefits are, firstly, ease of implementation. The first benefit is ease of implementation. That is, there are Python libraries such as scikit-learn and sklearn, which make it easy to combine the predictions of paced learners or estimators to improve the model performance. The documentation lays out available to the modules that can leverage in the model optimization. The next benefit is reduction of variance. Fine. So bagging can reduce the variance with a learning algorithm that is particularly helpful with high dimensional data, where missing values can lead to higher variance. So missing value solution is given to in this technique. Values can lead to higher variance if the values are missing, but this technique overcomes that problem, and it overlifts the prone and preventing accurate generalization to the new data sets. Now let's discuss a few challenges as well. So when we talk about challenges, one challenge is loss of interpretability. Interpretability, you can say. It is difficult to draw very precise business insights through bagging because due to the averaging involved across the predictions. While the output is more precise than any individual data point, more accurate or complete data set should also yield more precision within a single classification or regression model. The next challenge that is being faced is computationally expensive. These are very computationally expensive. Bagging slows down and grows more intensive as the number of iterations increases. Thus, it's not well suited for real-time applications. Clustered systems or a large number of processing cores are ideal for quickly creating bagged and sample on large data sets. And the last disadvantage, or you can say challenge in this case, is less flexibility. So as a technique, bagging works particularly well with the algorithms that are less stable. One that are more stable or subject to high amounts of bias don't provide as much benefits as there is less variance within the data set model. So next we have set few applications of bagging. We have some applications of bagging process. So under this, we can say a number of applications like healthcare is there, in IT sector, in certain environmental variables, in finance, we can have applications of this a number of places. Now, next we have stacking. So stacking is basically implemented from the bagging itself, but the thing that happens over here is in stacking, multiple tasks are running. Model is processing and making, giving the generalization, prediction to the generalizations. Then training is running on model 2 data, and then this is being provided to generalization. Then training data is there, and generalizations and certain predictions are being done. So stacking is just like creating stacks of something, as we have already discussed in a number of techniques, a number of subjects, that is stacking. So similarly, stacking is useful for for the ensemble learning also. So when we talk of stacking, it is a way to perform ensemble multiple classifications or regression model. There are many ways to ensemble models that are also known as bagging and boosting also. But stacking is different paradigm. The point of stacking is to explore the space different models for the same problem. Now, as you can see, different models are being implemented for the same type of problem. The idea is that you can attack a learning problem with different types of models which are capable to learn some part of the problem, but not the whole space of the problem. So you can build multiple different learners, and you use them to build an intermediate prediction, one prediction for each learned model. Then you can add a new model like this. You can add a new model, a model P, and it will produce its own prediction. And similarly, you keep on adding the models, and for each learned model, we are getting certain predictions from each and every model. Then you add on new model and get some intermediate predictions for the same target. The final model is said to be stacked. And here, when the generalization is being performed, it consists of stacked model on the top of the others. So it's like this. So suppose here we are having training data, and here we are having model 1 to make predictions, model 2, model 3, then we have suppose model 4. And from all these models, what we get over here is new training data set, new train set, and predictions or that are stacked. Next, we have again one more level, second level model. After that, we get one final model, and we keep on doing this process. So in this case, if we talk about how stacking is working, we separate the training model into k folds, just like the k-fold cross validation. A base model is fitted into the k minus 1 parts of the prediction that are made for the kth path. We do for each part of the training set. The base model is then fitted on the whole training data set to calculate its performance on the data set. We keep on repeating these steps until we get the other base model. Prediction from the trained set are used for the features for the second level model, and so on. After stacking, next technique that we are having is the boosting one. Boosting is again another technique in machine learning. So this is similar to bagging. It also creates ensemble classifiers by resampling the data, which are then combined by majority boostings. However, in boosting, resampling is strategically generated to provide the most informative training set for each consecutive classifier. Let me tell you the difference between this, but where these are different in the terminology. Here we can see, suppose this is one original data set D1, and from this data 1D1, a model has been trained. And this training is fed for the data set 2. Up to we keep on updating the weights for D2. And then we get one trained classifier from this, and output of this is fed to the next level, that is at D3. And we get one more trained model, and from the combination of these, keep on updating the weights at the end, we get one final combined classifier. So in this case, the major difference when we talk about bagging and boosting is, when we talk about boosting, it is sequential, where output of one model is dependent on the input that is being fed from the output of the previous model. So in this case, a sequence is being formed. Whereas when we talk about bagging, there is no sequence formed. So this is again, the major purpose is to improve the predictions. This is the difference in case of bagging. When we say this is the one data sample which is combined into multiple models or fed to multiple models or classifiers, and all those models are running in parallel and they are producing certain predictions which are finally compiled to for decision making process. But if we talk about boosting, in this data is being fed to from model one or classifier or whatever you want a type of algorithm. It will give its prediction. They are fed to the next model. And after this next model, these are fed to, it is producing its prediction, which are fed to the next level model. And it produces the output. And the finally, we get the one final result from all this. Next, we have ensemble combination rules. The algorithms that we have described till now have their built-in combination rules such as simple majority voting for bagging, weighted majority voting for ADA boost, and so on. However, in an ensemble of classifiers can be trained simply on different subsets of the training data, different parameters of the classifiers, or even with the different subsets of the feature as in random service spaces. The classifiers can then be combined using one several different combination rules. Some of these combination rules operate on class levels, whereas others need to be continuously output to the other. It defines three types of base models. One of them is known as abstract level output, where each classifier outputs a unique class label with each input pattern. Next, we have rank level output, where each classifier outputs a list of rank class labels for each input pattern. And we have measurement level of output, where each classifier outputs a vector of continuous values and measures and represent the posterior probabilities of classified related confidence values that represent the score for possible. Then we have a few algebraic combinations like this can be performed on non-trivial pairs. Like we have mean rule is there, sum rule is there, mean rule is taking out the mean value from all the data sets, sum rule which performs the addition of all the rules and provides identical final result as the mean rule. And we talk about weighted sum rule, it where weight is weight assigned to the tth classifier as to according to some measurements. Production rule is there, maximum value is there, the maximum value from the data set. If X is the data set, then we are getting the maximum value. And minimum rule for minimum, and all these are applying on the fuzzy sets. So if you want to understand these algebraic operations properly, then firstly you need to understand completely about the fuzzy sets and the fuzzy logic that we have already discussed in the previous sessions. Median rule and generalization mean rule. Then when we talk about voting based methods, so these are the methods that operate on the levels only for the data values that lies between 1 and 0, that is the Boolean logic, and depends upon whether when the classifier T chooses J or not. So it is simply working on the Boolean logic, the classical logic, not exactly on the fuzzy values. Last but not least, we have the feature selection model. So it says selecting the feature subsets at random is known as the random subspace method, a term coined by this who have used on constructing decision tree ensembles. Subset selection need not to be random. However, Asa and Tuner propose input dissemination where the features are selected based on the correlation of the class labels. So when we talk about feature selection, it basically deals with the selecting of various techniques, models, and the best data sets in the terminology of machine learning. So in machine learning and statistics, this feature selection, also known as variable selection, attribute selection, or variable subset selection, is a process of selecting a subset of relevant features for use in model construction. And when we talk about this feature selection model, it will describe the desirable to reduce the number of input variables. So it deals with what we call is dimensionality reduction. Dimensionality reduction, that is to reduce the input size. So whenever we talk about big data, then we have to go with the feature selection model. And then we can go with multiple features, best thing, So there can be numerical input, numerical output, or categorical input or output, but we have a number of methods available for feature selection also. But the ultimate goal is to get the best feature of something. So that's all for bagging, boosting, and feature selection model. So thank you for attending the session. Have a nice day.